Wang Ling is a dumb, worthless nobody in Huaxiu City, or at least that's what the world thinks. In reality, he poses as a regular student while basically having enough power to reset the cosmos in an instant, all because he wants to enjoy a regular life and possibly lose his V-card without snapping all the baddies out of existence. Before this, it's his first day at a new high school, so he walks into campus and notices a statue of a man named Zhuo Yi, who's known for saving Huaxiu. As he walks further in, two older students sense that his power level is lower than Sokka's chances of being a bender.
Just a guy with a boomerang.
So they see that as a chance to mess with him and demand some money from him. But before that gets very far, a bright golden light suddenly shoots down from the sky. A girl flies down and goes galactic police mode, saying that it's not cool to bully a new student just because his power is low. She turns out to be Sun Rong, the daughter of a super famous family known as the Flower Fruit Water Curtain Group. What kind of weird ass name is that? Everyone around starts glazing her immediately. The two seniors freak out because they know how popular and powerful she is, so they quickly walk away, saying guys shouldn't fight girls anyway. Sun Rong walks over to Wang Ling and tells him she's got his back no matter what, and then she offers her hand. But Wang Ling does something weird. He hands her the same $10 the bullies asked him for, and now everyone's confused, even Sun Rong, who clearly expected more. She looks kinda disappointed, like because the MC is acting like an NPC. Later on, a hologram of Zhuo Yi appears and tells everyone to gather for a spiritual force test. This test will decide which students get into the top class, called Class Elite, and which ones go to the regular class. The first student starts the test and finds himself in a dark room with water all over the floor. Then a giant frog appears and the water starts glowing. Everyone outside watches all this on a huge screen. Soon Rong sees the frog and realizes it's the same one that once attacked the city a long time ago and got beaten by Zhuo Yi. But now the frog is back because apparently it heard that girls kiss frogs to find their prince, so this desperate thing decided to give it another try. A voice then explains that the real frog is actually sealed under the school, and the one they're seeing now is just a spiritual copy. The goal is to use their powers to hit the frog's head, but most students can't even get past the energy shield around it. Then a guy named Chen Chao steps up. He walks in confidently, smacks the shield with his glowing fist, and earns a spot in Class Elite. Another student, Guo Hao, also makes it with a strong power level of 1886. Sun Rong goes next and hits the frog with a crazy strong force of 2019, which makes the whole crowd cheer like she's some kind of goddess. When Wang Ling finally shows up, the frog immediately senses something terrifying about him. It remembers him from the past and starts to panic, realizing that if it makes the wrong move now, it's not just going to lose, it might lose its whole soul. Wang Ling strategically works to keep a low profile like always, so he performs like he's struggling during the test. He barely puts in any effort, but somehow makes it look like he's working super hard, like Ayana Koji in any test. Just as he's about to hit the frog, the screen glitches and shows the frog upside down like it's breakdancing or something. Then out of nowhere his force level pops up as all 9s. Everyone's surprised, and the whole place goes quiet. Sun Rong quickly notices that this time, there was no shield around the frog at all. Wang Ling starts wondering why the frog reacted so strongly when he hadn't even touched it yet. Then he realizes that the frog is just straight up dead. It probably fainted from sensing his power. He easily gets into Class Elite, and once things calm down, their instructor Pan starts the first lesson on spiritual summoning. She explains that the air around them is filled with spiritual energy, and they need to use their own power to open a path and summon a spiritual creature. The stronger their power, the bigger and cooler their summoned creature will be. Everyone gets ready to try it. Chen Chao goes first and ends up summoning some kind of princess fairy wand. The class bursts out laughing, and someone probably thinks he's trying to branch out. Then it's Sun Rong's turn. She pulls out a skeleton dog with a little pink bow on its tail, like it just walked out of a spooky cartoon prom. She jokes that it's just a stray dog, but deep down she's wondering how much power it actually takes to bring out a real legendary beast. When Wang Ling's turn arrives, everything goes sideways. A big explosion goes off, and the next thing they know, the big ugly frog from the test is standing in the classroom. Everyone starts panicking like they just spotted a wild boss fight without saving first. Pan quickly grabs Sun Rong's weird skeleton dog and somehow fuses it with the frog, and the result is a strange green frog-dog hybrid that looks like something out of a rejected Pokemon lineup. The class gathers around the thing, and someone decides to call it Froggy 2. And just like that, a weird legend is born. The next morning, Wang Ling heads to school like it's just another normal day, but he keeps reminiscing on his childhood days. All the crazy memories hit him at once, and he remembers exactly why he always tries to keep things low-key. Honestly, even his birth wasn't normal. He literally came out of the womb on his own without help, like he was speedrunning life from day one. No doctor, no midwife, just instant spawn with max stats, and his parents were shook. But that was just the beginning. As a baby, he already had powers that made him more dangerous than half the villains in a shonen anime. One time, he accidentally shattered a limited edition dragon-slaying sword his parents bought him with just one touch. Turns out the sword was fake anyway, since his mom didn't want his dad blowing half the family's savings on one shiny toy, but still baby Wang Ling was out here breaking things like his fingers were S-class weapons. Then there was the time he tried to blow out birthday candles, and ended up setting the entire house on fire. While other kids were learning ABCs, this dude was out here casually igniting buildings. His power kept growing, and by the time he was 6 he already defeated a level 5 monster frog that most grown-ups wouldn't even mess with. After seeing all this chaos, his parents decided he needed a normal life, one without sword-shattering or surprise wildfires. So his dad made him a special amulet to wear on the back of his neck and made him take a golden pill every day to keep his powers under control. Even then he was still too strong, so his dad promised to make a better amulet someday. Until then, Wang Ling made up his mind to blend in like background characters in filler episodes. Low profile, no drama. When he finally arrives at school, there's a whole other drama going on. The class chief election is heating up, and Chen and Sun Rong are the two main contenders. Sun Rong goes all out, offering freshmen free stuff from her store to get their votes. Chen and Guo Hao call her out for basically trying to buy her way to victory, but she just takes it as a chance to flex her skills and win people over. Most people turn down the gifts, trying to stay neutral, but not Wang Ling. The moment he sees those delicious crispy noodles from her store, all bets are off. He makes a deal with her. 5 votes in exchange for 5 packs of those noodles. The power is suppressed, but the hunger is unstoppable. As soon as people see Wang Ling casually accepting Sun Rong's free gifts, everyone starts taking stuff in exchange for their vote, and Sun Rong's campaign turns into a full-on giveaway. But she doesn't stop there. She starts showing off her charm skills too, with mysterious glowing symbols floating above everyone's heads like she's casting a mass hypnosis spell. Wang Ling, trying to be polite and not seem like a total freeloader after scoring 5 packs of noodles, decides to give her something in return. So before heading off, he hands her a golden pill, something his mom gave him to help keep his spiritual powers in check. To him, it's just a thank you gift, but he has no clue what kind of chaos he's about to unleash. Back in class, the teacher's giving them a very cultured lesson about seduction spells. Apparently this whole technique is all about using certain incantations and hand movements to project spiritual energy onto someone. The origin of the spell goes way back like 1,000 years ago, back to some mysterious guy known as Little Wise Guy who somehow ended up with more than 3,000 loyal followers. Clearly, wisdom plus good marketing works. The teacher explains that to pull off the spell, you have to give someone a gift while chanting the line, "Not giving the tiniest part of me to benefit the world." That creates a vibe that weakens their mental guard, which allows your spiritual power to sneak in and leave a little mark, kind of like an invisible stamp of influence. Wang Ling starts putting the pieces together. He realizes that she might have used that spell on the whole class, but then he remembers something important. He gave her a gift back. That means he should have cancelled out the effect. Quietly, he makes a small move, signaling her to eat the golden pill he gave her. He just wants to fix the situation without making a scene. But of course, Sun Rong sees him staring and completely misreads it. She thinks he's falling for her or something, and that the golden pill is some kind of love charm, so she pops it in her mouth like it's candy. The problem is, the pill wasn't for boosting power, it was actually made to suppress it. So instead of giving her some epic new spiritual boost, it cuts her powers down. The charm spell breaks instantly, and everyone who had been affected by it suddenly snaps out of it, like someone pressed the undo button. With her spell gone, all the votes go back to normal, and Chen ends up winning the election, officially becoming the new class president. Wang Ling just wanted to return a favor, but instead, he unintentionally nerfed her entire campaign. The next day, while heading to pill refining class, Wang Ling runs into Sun Rong, who shows up at school in a flashy ride, surrounded by bodyguards and stepping out onto a red carpet like she's royalty from some magical kingdom. She walks with full confidence, but Wang Ling notices something strange floating above her head, a glowing sign just like the one he saw on others before. Turns out, he accidentally cast the seduction spell on her without meaning to. Trying to fix it quietly, he walks up to her and gently rubs the sign off her head by brushing her hair. The spell breaks, but the whole thing looks weird from the outside, and both Guo Hao and Chen are left wondering why Wang Ling would randomly touch Sun Rong's hair in public like that. To them, it just looks rude. Inside the classroom, Instructor Pan begins the pill refining lesson. She explains the process of creating a vitality pill using the Yangcheng pot and furnace. Everyone listens carefully while also sneakily checking out each other's furnaces like it's a weird game of magical kitchen envy. Chen shows off his great-grandfather's copper cauldron with pride, secretly hoping it'll impress Sun Rong enough to think he's some noble heir. Pan guides the class through the early steps, telling them the pill will take a full 7 hours to form, so they can leave it and come back later. The students get to work. Guo Hao looks at Chen's cauldron and figures it's better for bulk potion production, though not the best for small controlled batches. Sun Rong, of course, brings out a sleek pill refining machine from her family's factory, just to make sure everyone knows her background is top tier. Then there's Wang Ling, who keeps it simple by pulling out a regular microwave like he's about to reheat leftovers instead of crafting spiritual medicine. Guo Hao uses a classic furnace with a built-in temperature screen, flexing some quiet confidence. Things are going smoothly until Chen's precious cauldron explodes out of nowhere, throwing the room into chaos. He panics and runs off, already fearing the wrath of his dad, and his dramatic cries echo through the halls like someone just lost their rarest Pokemon card. Later, Froggy 2 sneaks into the room and gobbles up Guok's fancy furnace to absorb its spiritual energy. But Wang Ling shows up just in time. Already expecting this, Froggy 2 senses the danger and makes a wild leap out the window to escape. But Wang Ling chases after him, snatches the furnace back, and heads to the bathroom to wash it. Guo Hao walks by and sees Wang Ling coming out of the toilet holding his furnace. Confused and suspicious, he draws a spiritual gun on him, thinking something shady is going down. Wang Ling tries to explain, but just as he does, Chen comes running through. Wang Ling jumps in to help, and Guo Hao begs him to prepare an antidote and promises to forgive him for stealing the furnace if he helps keep the whole thing secret. They carry Chen back to the class, grab a level 3 textbook and start making the antidote, which needs 4 hours to finish. While they wait, Froggy 2 sneaks back again, trying to swallow the furnace again like it's dessert round 2. Thinking fast, Guo Hao uses a flash tool that makes Froggy 2 release his stored-up energy, which ends up preheating the furnace by accident. Guo Hao realizes they can use that energy to speed things up, so they guide it toward the furnace to help with the antidote prep. Right as they wrap things up, they hear the rest of the class returning. Wang Ling rushes to cover up Chao, while Guo Hao nervously stalls for time. Somehow Wang Ling manages to clean up everything before the others arrive. When Instructor Pan checks Guo Hao's furnace, she finds a shiny golden pill inside and gives him a score of 85. But when she checks Wang Ling's microwave, she finds a pill that is burned and broken, with something inside that looks more demonic than medicinal. She scolds him for making a mess, and Guo Hao, watching this, assumes Wang Ling gave him the perfect pill on purpose and took Chen's ruined one to cover for everyone. Deeply moved, Guo Hao silently promises to become his best friend for life. Unaware that his own pill had been sitting in the furnace all along, Guo Hao never realizes that Wang Ling's microwave just failed completely. After class, they finally pull Chen out of the broken cauldron. Apparently, in the panic, he had shoved him inside to hide him. Chen wakes up on the floor and asks about his cauldron, and Guo Hao tells him it's fixed. Then, overwhelmed by gratitude, he hugs Wang Ling, apologizes for doubting him, and bursts into tears like he just watched the saddest episode of Clannad. In class, Sun Rong walks right up to Wang Ling and casually asks him out on a date, leaving him totally frozen. But before he can even process what's happening, he spots 2 assassins in rabbit masks up on a nearby rooftop, aiming a sniper rifle right at her. Without a second thought, he quietly manipulates the bullet mid-air, saving her life before anyone even realizes what's going on. She keeps talking like nothing happened, still trying to convince him to go out with her. Chen sees this and gets so heartbroken that he starts crying, while Guo Hao sits beside him trying to comfort him like a dramatic side character who just lost his screen time. Right then, the admin shows up and asks for Wang Ling. He quietly follows him out, but Sun Rong mistakenly thinks he said yes to the date, and word spreads fast. The school's gossip page lights up with rumors about a new love story between them, and those insta-thoughts are all over it. The instructor leads Wang Ling to Master Zhuo Yi, the big-name honorary immortal of the school. As soon as Zhuo Yi sees him, he instantly recognizes him as the one who beat the giant frog and treats him with full respect, even asking to become his disciple. But Wang Ling has no time for that. He pulls out his memory-erasing ability and uses it on him to avoid completely frying Zhuo Yi's brain. He dials it down to 50% strength, just enough to wipe the moment clean, and then leaves. He goes off to a quiet spot to eat his crispy noodles in peace, but Froggy 2 shows up with some news. Those rabbit mask assassins are still around. The next day, Wang Ling has weird dreams about Sun Rong, then suddenly wakes up to see her and her entire guard squad waiting for him outside through the window. He quickly closes the curtain and heads down for breakfast. To make things worse, his parents are over the moon about his new girlfriend. They urge him to hurry up so he won't keep her waiting. They even argue about his love life and proudly show him some fancy nutrition pills Soon Rong gave them, saying it can make people look better. His dad gets excited and starts giving him dating tips like he's been waiting for this moment all his life. Eventually they shove him out of the house and straight into Soon Rong's car, while Wang Ling quietly wishes those assassins would just show up now and bail him out. She tells him they're heading to Heavenly Paradise, a huge theme park built by her family. It's not just a park, it's a full-on commercial kingdom made just for her. She teases him a little, saying it was meant for her future soulmate and that he's the first to ever come with her, then laughs it off like a joke. Inside the park, they visit the Cave of the Universe, where a guide explains the whole legend about the prophecy wall. Apparently, if you put your hand in the fairy's mouth, the wall will echo your romantic fate. Soon Rong gets excited and drags him to try it, but as they get close, Wang Ling spots the assassins again. They pull out their guns and open fire, but he catches the bullet with his teeth and fires it right back, launching one of them into the sky like Team Rocket. Soon Rong sees him smiling and blushes, thinking it's for her. To protect her from further danger, Wang Ling quietly handles the threat and wipes both her and the guide's memories with his halfway forgetting trick. They go on to enjoy the rest of the park, hopping on rides and playing games while Wang Ling keeps blocking every sneaky attack the assassins try to pull. Their failures start stacking up so high they begin to look like Bulk and Skull from Power Rangers. Every time they mess up, he erases the incident from everyone's mind and resets the scene. As the sun sets, Soon Rong asks him to ride the Ferris wheel and watch the fireworks. He agrees, hoping to finally chill a bit, but once they're inside the cabin and the wheel starts moving, the assassins show up again, sneaking in with weapons drawn. Soon Rong, thinking they're from the Shadow faction, immediately steps in front of Wang Ling to protect him. That sets him off. His eyes glow bright red and in seconds he disables their weapons and phones, then kicks them out of the cabin. One of them even turns into literal fireworks thanks to a flaming phoenix attack, lighting up the sky while a nearby warrior watches in shock. Wang Ling tells Soon Rong to keep all of this a secret and asks for a promise. For the first time, he uses his full power 100% promise trick, sealing away all her memories of everything that happened today, locking it all inside her mind like it never happened. The next day at school feels tense, and Guo Hao and Chen can't wait to ask Wang Ling about what happened on his date with Soon Rong. Not long after, Soon Rong pulls up in her fancy car with her usual crew of serious-looking bodyguards and joins the group. The bodyguards quickly form a tight circle around them while the school administrator shows up and warns them about the threat that's still hanging over Soon Rong, since the assassins who attacked her at Heavenly Paradise are still out there. Zhuo Yi also arrives, acting like a hero, and starts explaining all the heavy security measures that are now in place. He's clearly proud, telling everyone how he stopped the attackers yesterday. Chen cheers him on like it's the most heroic thing ever, but in reality it was actually Wang Ling who stopped the assassins and also used his 50% memory trick on Zhuo Yi, so the guy now fully believes he saved the day himself. That way Wang Ling gets to stay under the radar. Zhuo Yi explains that a kill order from the Shadow faction has been placed on Soon Rong, and when they target someone, that person usually doesn't make it to the next day. To keep her safe, he placed soldiers at the school gates, stacked powerful guards all over the place, and filled the building with cultivators at Golden Pill level and above. He leads everyone to his office, which is protected by a strong spiritual barrier, and says the 7-star squad is also flying around on magical swords to guard against any long-range or sky attacks. Inside the office, Zhuo Yi tells everyone they'll be safe here. Chen peeks out the window and gets excited when he sees the 7-star squad doing laps around the school. The administrator casually says this is the most security the school's ever had since it opened. But then things go sideways. Zhuo Yi and the administrator suddenly spot Zhu Feng, a big shot from the Shadow faction and one of the Hammer team members, smashing through the guards with a giant chicken hammer. He takes out the camera next, so their screen goes black. No one else really notices though, because they're too busy gossiping in the elite class group chat about everything that happened during Soon Rong and Wang Ling's date. Zhuo Yi, trying to stay calm, calls someone and asks them to reduce the number of cruisers at the gate and move more guards to the central lobby instead. At the same time, another assassin shows up. Shui Ying, also from the Hammer team and known for being a poison expert. He knocks out some elite guards with gas, but the administrator jumps in and starts fighting him. Everyone in the office watches the action on screen like it's a live stream. Meanwhile, Wang Ling suddenly feels like eating crispy noodles, so he casually orders some from his phone and just waits. The fight outside continues, and the administrator manages to dodge most of Shuo Ying's traps. Just when Shuo Ying thinks he's made it and runs toward the office, Wang Ling opens the door and knocks him out like it's nothing. He quickly apologizes and goes to grab his food. Zhuo Yi tells Sun Rong not to worry, and that the assassins are only after her, not Wang Ling. But on the way to pick up his noodles, Wang Ling runs into the last and strongest member of the hammer team, Xu Jan, the team leader. He's invisible and super powerful, holding a hammer so huge it's basically made for smashing buildings. Xu Jan is standing there, hidden, trying to charge up a full swing to destroy the spiritual barrier. But before he finishes, Wang Ling just walks past and says something that makes Xu Jan think he's been spotted. But then Xu Jan sees the delivery guy arriving and assumes Wang Ling was only talking to him, so he shrugs it off. Wang Ling, realizing the mix-up, politely apologizes to Xu Jan for knocking out his teammate earlier. Xu Jan gets mad. Real mad, that this kid can actually see him while invisible. He slams his full-power hammer at Wang Ling, thinking it'll cause global-level damage, but it just hits him like a rubber toy and bounces off. Wang Ling stays calm and keeps eating his crispy noodles like nothing happened. Xu Jan panics, wondering how a student in the primary phase has more spiritual power than him. Before he can process it, Wang Ling grabs him and drags him outside. Zhuo Yi shows up and calls him master, and once again Wang Ling uses the memory trick to make Zhuo Yi believe he's the one who defeated Xu Jan. To keep it realistic, Wang Ling acts like he's injured from the fight and lets Zhuo Yi carry him around for the extra touch of drama. The police show up and arrest the assassins, and everyone gathers to glaze Zhuo Yi as always. They all look at Wang Ling in Zhuo Yi's arms, appearing to be hurt, and hitting the Princess Peach signature pose every time Mario saves her. And yes, that part actually got reported by Bilibili TV. After the assassin attacks at school, Wang Ling acts like he's still sick and stays home for 10 days. Sun Rong gets him a medical pod that showers him with expensive medicine every hour. His mom isn't buying the act anymore, yelling at him to stop pretending and tell the school he's fine so he can go back in 2 days. While lying in the pod, he remembers how Sun Rong looked super worried that day, even though she still doesn't know what really happened. Since he doesn't like being in the spotlight, he decided to give Zhuo Yi all the credit for defeating the assassins. As he rests in the pod, basically a high-tech coffin built with help from the best healers Sun Rong could find, he starts thinking about how unlucky his life is. The medical pod sprays him with rare herbs and spiritual medicine that are supposed to fix his meridians and boost his strength. Later, his mom walks in with breakfast and tells him to come out and eat. At the same time, his dad yells from downstairs that his friends have come to visit. Wang Ling panics and runs back into the pod, still faking being sick, while his mom goes to greet them. His friends show up holding flowers and gifts, and his mom politely says they didn't have to bring anything. She heads to the kitchen to make snacks. Guo teases Wang Ling for still acting sick and introduces his pet birdie too. The bird lands on top of the Medipod and just keeps saying camel camel camel. Everyone finds it hilarious, except Wang Ling, who stares at the bird like it's a cursed Pokemon, and wonders why anyone would pick such an ugly animal. Chen adds that Birdie 2 kinda looks like Wang Ling, making him pull a weird face. Just then, Sun Rong remembers that they left Froggy 2 at the door. Froggy sneaks in and jumps on Wang Ling's face, licking him like a puppy. Wang Ling's mom thanks them all for taking care of him at school. Sun Rong sees this as her chance to impress her future mother-in-law. She brings out some fancy pills from her family's company, plus an enormous syringe filled with chicken blood tonic that's supposed to help Wang Ling fully recover. Wang Ling's mom takes the gifts and leaves, warning him to treat his friends nicely, especially Sun Rong. The princess sits down next to him and starts asking if he's feeling better. Then she brings up the chicken blood tonic and says that if she combines her spiritual energy with his, it'll work even better. Wang Ling freezes. Spiritual energy sharing? That's way too close for comfort. Luckily, Chen changes the topic and hands him a wristband from the school admin. Every student is supposed to take a spiritual power test, and Chen was asked to give Wang Ling his. Sun Rong instantly protests, saying he shouldn't take the test if he's still weak, but Wang Ling is now more scared of her injection than any test, so he grabs the wristband and announces that he's recovered. The test begins with Chen. He explains that everyone has to concentrate their spiritual force into a shape like a Rasengan, and the band measures its size. Chen's force value hits around 600. Guo says it's not far from the entrance test score, and explains that this kind of power shows how well someone can project their energy outside their body. Wang takes his turn next, but only scores 176. He's so embarrassed he tries to jump out the window, but Chen pulls him back. Then Sun Rong says she'll skip the test to avoid breaking anything. But Chen and Guang remind her she only scored 2019 on the entrance test, so her power shouldn't be that wild. She agrees to try and her energy almost blows up the room. Her sphere is massive and she scores 4115, second only to Tang Jingzhe from Faction 59. Chen and Guaipu are stunned. Finally, it's Wang Ling's turn. He plans to leak just a little energy to get a low score, but even his tiniest amount makes the others feel like they're being blasted with wind. He quickly sends the rest of his energy straight into space, creating a huge spiritual sphere that floats like a planet. Everyone looks confused because his score shows null. They start wondering if that means 0. Soon Rong covers for him, saying it's because he's still recovering. Wang Ling shrugs it off and says maybe it's just a display error. Everyone laughs and heads home. Later, Wang Ling calls Guodu to help hack into the system and change his score to something normal, like 175. Guodu agrees and starts working while Wang Ling munches on crispy noodles. Guodu says he needs the login password to get into the school system, but he can crack it with his password trap. Turns out the password is just 8 asterisks. While inside the system, Guo Hao sees Tang Jingzhe's name at second place and decides to mess with him. But Tang and his mercenary notice the tampering and try to stop him. Guo keeps going, smashing through the code like he's building a tunnel in Minecraft. Before he can finish changing Wang Ling's score, the system sets off an alarm, so Guo Hao logs out fast. At least he manages to rename Tang's profile to Tang Birdie 2, and a bunch of people walk in to make fun of him. The next day, the principal pulls out the test results and shows Miss Pan the scores, and she stares at it like it's a prank because apparently Wang Ling came first. Meanwhile, on the TV behind them, a news broadcast is showing a training session from Faction 59, and it grabs everyone's attention. The screen flashes with updates about the National Senior Phase Sword Competition, and it zooms in on the Faction 59 training grounds. The reporter starts hyping them up, saying these students basically train like pros, then points out Tang Jingzhe showing off with some flashy Big Dipper sword formation. They cut to an interview with Tang Jingzhe, and he's standing there all confident saying his squad has been training like crazy for the past month. When the reporter brings up Faction 60, everyone in Wang Ling's group leans in, while Wang Ling just sits there eating his crispy noodles like none of this matters. Soon Rong's saying he's looking forward to seeing her in action at the tournament, but the moment the name Wang Ling is mentioned, his smile fades and he throws shade. He acts cool but low-key annoyed, wishing Wang Ling good luck with his little immortal practice thing, and then just walks off. Later that night, everyone's just chilling at home when they suddenly get dragged into a random group chat by someone named the administrator. Nobody saw that coming. Turns out the 5 of them have been selected to compete in the 4,396th National Senior Phase Sword Competition. And out of nowhere they realize Froggy 2 is in the group too. Yup, the dog. Apparently he took the spiritual force test and somehow got a score of 5,000, which is higher than even Tang Jingzhe. Dude's not just barking, he's qualifying. Everyone is stunned for a second, then it hits them. There's actually been animals in this competition before, so now the energy shifts from confusion to full-blown hype. Chen runs to tell his dad, who nearly tears up from pride and gives him a spiritual sword called Lai Chao. Guo Hao jumps in too, flexing his own sword that he's had for nearly 8 years. He brags that it's made from the teeth of a spiritual beast called the Night Devil Tiger. Then soon Rong pops in on video call and shows off her sword, Ocean. The administrator sees its bright blue glow and instantly freezes, shocked that she already produced a sword spirit. Miss Pan joins in and praises her, saying even though her family is rich and hooked up with resources, she clearly put in the work to build a bond with her weapon. But then soon Rong casually drops a bomb and says her family actually made 13 more swords just like Ocean, just in case one breaks. Everyone sits there stunned like they've just met the real final boss of sword forging. The administrator gets back on track and explains how sword spirits work. At first they're a little unstable, but if nurtured right, they become stronger and smarter over time. Some even develop their own personalities if bonded with powerful cultivators. He tells them they'll learn more in later classes, but for now their main job is to connect with their swords. That's when Froggy 2 becomes the main event. The group starts teasing him, like how on earth does a dog carry a spiritual sword? But Froggy 2 doesn't even bark back. He just casually sends a video of himself pulling out a sword with his tongue from inside his body. It's called the Sword of Sky. Yeah, the dog just became the coolest one in the group. Everyone goes silent after that, and then slowly all eyes turn to Wang Ling. They start poking around, wondering if he also has a spiritual sword. All he wants is to eat his noodles and be left alone, but no chance. After getting asked over and over again, he finally says yes, he has a spiritual sword, and ends the whole thing there. No one really notices that he clearly doesn't want to be part of this whole event. He knows deep down that if he uses his real strength, it's going to be a problem, a big one. But with everyone around him so fired up, including his own instructor, he doesn't really have a choice, so he goes along with it. Wang Ling heads downstairs to ask his parents about his sword, but ends up hearing his mom yelling at his dad over some cheap anti-aging cream. The TV is on too, and the news shows a chemical plant that exploded, the kind that handles spiritual stuff. Experts are now warning people not to bring anything too powerful near it. like spiritual figures or objects. The news then cuts to something even crazier. The Shadow Faction's hideout has finally been found, and the Cultivation Council's armored squad is surrounding the place. A member with a rabbit mask stands outside and dares anyone to try and get in past her. That confidence doesn't last though, because they catch her right after and then the rest of her group gets wiped out fast by the magic squad. Soon after, Joe shows up in his car and the press runs to him like he's a celebrity. He tells them he's stopped the assassins twice before and this time won't be any different. He also says he's ready to meet the Shadow Faction boss. Meanwhile, Wang Ling finally stops watching and asks his parents where they hid his sword. He goes into the attic and finds a glowing box. As soon as he touches it, a tiny white-haired boy pops out and says it's been 10 years. Wang Ling panics, shuts the box, and suddenly feels a sting in his chest from his amulet. Next day, Wang Ling meets his friends outside the school gate. Chen and Guo Hao tease him because his wooden sword looks small and kind of like a toy. Sun Rong thinks it looks cute though, and the class pet Froggy is the only one who senses just how strong that little sword really is. Zhuo Yi, the administrator, and instructor Pan show up and tell them the competition will be held at Faction 59 for 5 days, so everyone needs to pack for the trip. Wang Ling doesn't have any bags, so Zhuo Yi asks if he knew they were staying over. Truth is, Wang Ling knew all along, but didn't plan to actually join the competition. His plan was to fake a stomachache and dip after arrival. Chen offers to share his clothes, but the idea disgusts everyone. Everyone gets on the bus except Zhuo Yi, who says he's got something urgent to deal with. Before they leave, he wishes Wang Ling good luck, but Wang Ling just shuts the window in his face. Inside the bus, his sword spirit tries to break out again, but Wang Ling shuts it up by reminding it of their deal. He gave it crispy noodles to keep it quiet. Turns out, powerful sword spirits just want snacks too. They arrive at Faction 59 and are greeted by 3 students and their instructor, Miss Xi. Right away, Pan and Xi start throwing shade at each other. They used to be best friends and roommates but now act like sworn enemies. Xi walks over to Sun Rong and throws some slick comment about how she's the one helping fund Faction 60. Pan fires back, reminding her that Sun Rong is their student, not hers. Pan then points at a boy next to Tang Jingzhe and calls him out for cheating, bullying, and even abusing animals. Everyone is shocked, and Ji looks like she just got hit with a dump truck full of karma. Wang Ling just wants a good excuse to fake his stomachache. She, still salty, tries to get back at Pan by testing Wang Ling's power level using some simple beam trick. Wang Ling thinks this could be his big chance to fake a serious condition and escape. Jay mocks Pan for bringing a weakling with a power level of 5 to an elite tournament, then asks if she's ready to admit defeat. Wang Ling sees his opening, grabs his chest and drops to the floor. The entire class rushes to check on him. Just then his sword spirit breaks free and tells him his amulet is falling apart. Wang Ling is mad it didn't say anything earlier, but the spirit says it tried. Wang Ling just kept stuffing it back in during the bus ride. The amulet finally snaps, blasting a wild amount of spiritual energy into the sky. Everyone freaks out. They all think Miss Xi did something awful to him. She denies everything and calls it an act. Sun Rong gets angry and tells her to look properly at Wang Ling. She says there's no way anyone could pretend to be that messed up. Miss Xi explains she only used a basic power check trick, and turns to ask her students if they did anything, but they all shake their heads. Sun Rong keeps holding Wang Ling like he's about to vanish, while he keeps pretending to be half dead, and the shady girl backs off for now, clearly already working on her next move. Wang Ling finally gets laid, the student union secretary. Chen but immediately sets his body on fire. Jingzhe sarcastically destroy the whole world. So he calls his dad, who's in the middle of juggling a phone and toilet paper. Alter adds to your team's score when you stick your sword in it, and once your score hits as well, just give up. But Guo Hu Hao says that Faction 59 also has only up to Sun Rong and starts flirting, offering her a flower and saying he'll join moment, even though it damaged his already fragile amulet even more. He Bufong decides to test Wang Ling's power, and He Bufong, with her special rope, then hands them to her old driver and starts stepping on Wang Ling over and over like he's a doormat, not even realizing that if wake up before things get worse, but nothing works. Until it finally mentions that crispy noodles are now halves, saying that her family doesn't run from fights, and runs out with her guards to save Wang Ling. Still doesn't care. Instead, this slacker feels great because he thinks this whole competition thing might get cancelled. But his nap the mission. He Bufong manipulates time back to when the driver first stomped the ground, takes control of the fight, and beats him easily. Asks Wang Ling if the big hole was part of the fight, but he just says the hole was already there. Once the guy walks away, Wang Ling's sword spirit comes out of the hole and asks what to do with the real He Bufong, who's knocked out at the bottom. Wang Ling says to leave him there and watch him closely, thinking the whole tournament might be called off if He Bufong isn't around. But he doesn't realize the Shadow Lady, still pretending to be He Bufong, signs up for the competition. So the next day, to his horror, Wang Ling ends up at the competition he tried so hard to skip, staring at the fake He Bufong in confusion. The students are told not to fly higher than 5 meters, and that the whole place is covered in some kind of healing zone so no one's cultivation drops even if they get smacked around. They're also asked to give up their phones, and instead use Bluetooth earpieces to talk to teammates. Everyone's hyped and cheering, except for Wang Ling. He just stands there wondering why life is doing this to him again. The match starts, and the press is taking photos like crazy. Xiao Bei starts collecting all the enemy team's spiritual info. Then out of nowhere Wang Ling's dad comes running in, holding the amulet and looking worried, but it's already too late. Wang Ling has entered the battlefield. Zhuo Yi sees him and gets too excited, almost calls him Master's dad by mistake, then quickly fixes it before anyone catches on. Wang Ling's dad explains the whole broken amulet situation to Zhuo Yi, who looks completely stunned and starts realizing that this tournament might turn into something way bigger than just a school fight. Faction 59 develops a sneaky way to hack the system and get all their members into the same place for the competition, while poor He Bufong gets left out. Meanwhile, the folks from Faction 60 are all over the place like scrambled eggs. Xiao Bei tries to track where the Faction 60 members landed using her powers, but Wang Ling doesn't even show up on her radar because his force level is so low it's basically invisible. Chen Chao ends up at the metal altar in the west, Sun Rong's chilling up north at the water altar. Froggy 2 shows up at the fire altar down south, and He Bufong randomly lands there too. After checking everyone else's location, Tang Jingze figures Wang Ling must have ended up at the wood altar in the east. Right after that, one of Faction 59's members, a dude with bright orange hair, dashes off straight toward Wang Ling's spot to get the easy points. At the same time, Guo Hao finds himself in the same area as Faction 59, so he hides behind a rock to spy on them, but his little sneaky moment gets ruined when Tang Jingze attacks him. Luckily, that was just a shadow clone decoy, so Guo Hao still has 2 lives left like an old Nintendo video game. The real Guo Hao sneaks off to tail the orange-haired guy heading for Wang Ling, and Faction 59 splits up to fight off Faction 60 while also trying to take the Earth Altar. Chen Chao hears about this and panics, then runs toward the metal altar to grab it first. But as soon as he gets close, a bunch of sharp leaves come flying from the metal altar's tree and cut him up like he's walking into a bush made of knives. Even though he's scratched all over, he pushes through like a shonen main character and reaches the altar. But before he could do anything, Xiao Bei pops out of nowhere to confront him. Chen tries to be all gentlemanly and says that he doesn't hit women, but before he can even finish thinking, she hijacks his nervous system and makes him smack himself like a cheap puppet show. Over at the fire altar, Froggy 2 and He Bufong are going head-to-head, throwing punches like it's Crypto versus Lex Luthor. Froggy 2 tries to power up by absorbing He Bufong's bad vibes, but even with that, He Bufong still beats him and claims the fire altar. Meanwhile, the orange-haired guy finally reaches the wood altar and finds Wang Ling knocked out like he just finished a 100-episode binge. The guy thinks he's about to get a free win, but Wang Ling wakes up just in time after Froggy 2 tells him in his ear that negative energy might be the key to breaking a seal. Just as the orange-haired guy gets ready to attack, Guo Hao swoops in and lands a hit while Wang Ling just watches with all the emotion of a brick. Up at the water altar, Sun Rong is about to take control of it when Tang Jingze jumps in and challenges her. They start an epic sword fight and he keeps talking like they've got some deep ancestral connection. As the fight gets heated, there's an announcement saying that Faction 59 has taken 4 altars already. Feeling the pressure, Sun Rong tries her ocean dance move, but Tang Jingze hits back with a snowy counter move, freezing everything and messing her up. Before she can think, He Bafong shows up apparently because Tang Jingze called him and now it's 2 against 1. Sun Rong starts panicking because the frozen ground makes her water escape move useless, and she's stuck between these 2 monsters. Out of nowhere, the orange-haired guy gets yeeted across the sky like Team Rocket. His crash is so powerful it messes up the ice, blows the wind away and clears the path, giving Sun Rong the perfect chance to make a run for it. Tang Jingze notices the energy from that blow and says it's some next-level negative force, even stronger than He Bufong's. He goes to capture the altar and tells He Bufong that he doesn't care who he is, but he has to do whatever he says and keep to their deal. After grabbing their 5th altar, Faction 59 gets a speed boost. But just when it looks like they've got the upper hand, the next announcement shocks everyone. Faction 60 has taken the wood altar too. Turns out Wang Ling and Froggy 2 coordinated and grabbed it while everyone was too busy punching each other, and Guo Hao tells Sun Rong what's up. Back at the wood altar, Guo Hao and the orange-haired guy are locked in a wild fight, and Guo Hao pulls out his word cannon move, blasting the guy with words that break more bones than sticks and stones, but the move has a cooldown, so he can't spam it. After a while, he runs out of stuff to say and just kinda freezes. The orange-haired guy laughs, says he's all out of tricks, and even starts throwing insults at Wang Ling, calling him weak and useless, before going in for a kick. Froggy 2 shows up nearby, planning to sneak in and absorb the spiritual energy flying around from their fight, but as soon as he spots Wang Ling, he hides immediately like he's about to get smacked. Guo Hao suddenly gets a rough idea, but he knows it's gonna hurt his friendship with Wang Ling. Still, he goes for it. Starts saying really mean stuff about Wang Ling, firing off powerful word blasts straight at the enemy. Hearing all this nonsense, Wang Ling experiences something he hasn't felt in forever. Actual emotions. Turns out his amulet, which usually locks up both his powers and his feelings, is starting to crack. He still can't let it all out or go full power, but he's seriously mad now. As the amulet breaks more and more, a huge wave of negative energy spills out. Froggy 2 sees his moment and jumps in to slurp up the energy like a Kirby. But Wang Ling quickly comes up with a plan. He controls how much spiritual power he releases, just enough to feed Froggy 2 while keeping things stable. Froggy 2 suddenly realizes he's being used as a sponge and protests, but it's too late. They end up syncing their powers and basically fusing, with Froggy 2 sticking to Wang Ling's head like Majin Buu's final form accessory. Guo Hao watches in shock and thinks it's some kind of weird magic trick, but the orange-haired guy just keeps talking trash, saying Wang Ling is still a level 5 loser. Wang Ling walks to him and lightly makes contact with the guy's sword, only for it to instantly shatter like a cheap toy. Then he only touches him a bit and sends him flying through the sky like it's Angry Birds. Just like that, Wang Ling captures the wood altar, and Faction 59 speed bonus vanishes. When the announcement drops, Tang Jingzhe asks Xiaobei what just happened. She explains that Wang Ling fused with Froggy 2 and grabbed the altar. Worse, now he's headed toward the fire altar. Not long after, Wang Ling and Guo Lishao manage to take over the fire altar too, and now Tang Jingzhe tells Xiaobei to go defend the earth altar and sends another teammate to try and retake the fire one. Tang Jingzhe figures that with orange hair out of the game, the power balance is even again, so he starts avoiding Wang Ling directly and shifts to rotating everyone around the altars, hoping to wear Faction 60 down. While doing that, Wang Ling stops by the metal altar and wakes up Chen Chao. Chen wakes up, sees Wang Ling and instantly freaks out. Wang Ling captures the metal altar, giving Faction 60 a solid lead. Chen gets excited about the win, and for the first time ever, Wang Ling smiles. Chen stares at him, totally shocked because this dude never smiles. But then Tang Jingzhe pulls off a slick move and captures all the remaining altars, making the score 1-4 again in Faction 59's favor. Wang Ling quickly figures out the strategy. Even though he's super strong, he can't just run around collecting altars one by one. He tries to go faster, but Froggy 2 warns him they're reaching their limit, and if they keep pushing, the whole world might fall apart. So basically they're going full Gurren Lagann, but without the spiral power safety net. Right before Wang Ling overdoes it, Sun Rong tells everyone that she's with Guo Hao, and warns them that Xiaobei is tracking their locations. But she says they've got one secret weapon, which is Wang Ling. Hearing that makes him blush a little, and Froggy 2 starts teasing him like a nosy little sidekick. Sun Rong tells Wang Ling to go after the earth altar, which is being guarded by He Bufeng. She wants Chen Chao to protect the metal altar they already took. Then she shares the full plan. She's gonna use her water trick to mess with Xiaobei's tracking, while she and Guo Hao sneak over to the fire altar. Guo Hao's job is to keep the enemy busy while she captures it. Xiaobei reports Sun Rong's move to Tang Jingzhe, but he says she can't reach the fire altar without getting past He Bufeng. That's when they both realize Sun Rong might use her water ability to sneak in without being noticed. As expected, Sun Rong and Guo Hao quietly head toward the fire altar, using water to cover their tracks like they're using Suigetsu's hidden mist jutsu. Once there, Guo Hao starts messing with the Faction 59 guard, teasing and distracting him while Sun Rong slips inside to capture the altar. Tang Jingzhe quickly shouts through the earphone, telling the guard to get back before Sun Rong grabs it. The guy rushes back, but Guo Hao fires up his word cannon again to stop him. Unfortunately, things take a wild turn when Guang Hao tries to hit the Faction 59 guy with his word cannon, but the fat dude accidentally trips over a rock, and Guang Hao ends up saying hurtful things to Sun Rong instead. Literally, the hit knocks her off balance and pushes her away from the altar, which gives Tang Jingzhe just enough time to arrive. Sun Rong, while lying there, remembers her dad's strict words, especially the part about never losing to Tang Jingzhe's family, who spent the last 14 years flexing their family and their so-called unbeatable art of confinement. Tang Jingzhe yells at his teammate to hurry up and reclaim the sword, while Guo Xiao apologizes under his breath and charges up another shot. This time, he hits the guy, but the attack isn't strong enough to stop him. So Sun Rong throws one of her swords at the altar and rushes the enemy with her other blades, but the countdown doesn't start since she didn't put the sword in herself. Realizing this, she hurries back to do it properly. But before she can reach it, Tang Jingzhe's sword spirit swoops in and breaks her sword. He mocks her, saying she blew her chance, and even though he hoped to win 5-zip, he's cool with 4-1. He starts talking about how doomed Faction 60 is, but it all comes to Sun Rong's head now. If they lose this altar, they lose the entire match. She figures out Tang Jingzhe's full plan. Xiao Bei is secretly tailing Wang Ling, and He Bufong is supposed to take out Chen Chao. If Wang Ling tries to go after another altar, Xiao Bei will just grab the one he leaves behind, cancelling out their progress. So she tells Guo how they need to guard this altar with everything they've got, and Chen Chao has to make sure He Bufong doesn't steal the metal one. Chen avoids He Bufong's attacks, instead of fighting back, remembering Sun Rong's instructions. He just needs to stop He Bufong from inserting his sword. Nothing else. Chen's dodging skills are actually pretty solid, but He Bufong tries to provoke him by calling him a coward, hoping to push him into attacking. Hearing that word brings back to his childhood, when his dad used to call him that and beat him if he didn't meet expectations. But Chen keeps it together. He stays calm and keeps dodging, which only rage baits He Bufong even more. Then a metal leaf falls from the tree above the altar, and He Bufong suddenly realizes why it's called the metal altar. The entire tree is made of metal. He gathers all the falling metal leaves with his spiritual energy and hurls them at Chen, slicing him up badly. Even with injuries piling up, Chen still tries to stop him, which pushes He Bufong over the edge. He goes full force and completely wrecks Chen's arms. Meanwhile, back at the fire altar, Sun Rong senses that Chen's in serious trouble and tells Guo to go help him. Guo Hao hesitates at first, knowing she'd be stuck facing two tough enemies alone, but she insists and he slips away. While hiding, he secretly charges up his sword Ghost Tooth, as Sun Rong continues fighting Tang Jingzhe's sword spirit solo. Back at the metal altar, Chen's barely holding on. He's badly hurt and can't even stand, but he's still trying to stop He Bufong from claiming the altar. He gets kicked over and over again, and He Bufong steps up to insert his sword. Chen tries to get up one last time but collapses and starts tearing up. He promised to protect the altar and doesn't want to let everyone down. Then, out of nowhere, Xiao Bei radios Tang Jingzhe, saying that two massive spiritual forces just burst out from the fire and metal altars, and both of them belong to Guo now. Just then, Guo Hao summons his sword spirit, which appears in the form of a massive phoenix. It's super powerful but comes with a big cost. It needs other sword spirits to sacrifice themselves to boost its strength. Turns out, Sun Rong and Guo Hao had planned this whole combo ahead of time. She sacrifices her sword spirit, which fuses with Guo Hao's, and together they fire off a huge blast of flames at Tang Jingzhe and the other Faction 59 guy, wiping them both out. At the same time, Chen gets powered up by the Phoenix's energy. His arms regenerate, glowing with spiritual energy, and he uses the boost to blast He Bufong away. He throws out He Bufong's sword and inserts his own, finally claiming the metal altar for real. That puts Faction 60 in the lead with a 3-point score, and just moments later, Wang Ling secures the wood altar again, pushing them to 4-1, meaning the tables have completely turned. But then He Bufong suddenly snaps, furious about how badly things are going. He drops the act and reveals his true identity, Zhang Liwei, the leader of the Shadow Faction, and she immediately attacks Chen Chao. Back at the strategy huddle, Sun Rong points out the obvious: if Chen Chao holds the metal altar and Guo Hao helps take the fire altar, it still won't be enough. Faction 59's progress is just too far ahead. So she drops the real plan, saying that it's time to bring out their secret weapon, Wang Ling. Wang Ling will fake being at the water altar, and Guo Hao will summon his sword spirit, which is flashy enough to catch attention. Xiao Bei, who's been keeping tabs on Wang Ling, will naturally report to Tang Jingzhe the moment Guo Hao's phoenix spirit shows up. Bei won't detect the switch, powered up by the sacrifices made by Chen and Sun Rong. The phoenix puts Tang Jingzhe and his friend in the recycle bin, and the fire altar is captured by Faction 60. Hearing this, Xiao Bei panics and races toward the wood altar. She tells He Bufong to immediately head over to defend the earth altar. Or jumps to 4-1, and Xiao Bei's confused, because if Wang Ling is still at the water altar, who the heck got to the wood one? Then Froggy 2 casually reveals himself, and Xiao Bei tries to catch him with her web of dimensions. When he was little, his amulet kept his emotions tightly sealed, leaving him as emotional as a brick wall. His parents taught him to control his feelings early on. He got good at it. Too good, until Sun Rong came along. It started when she protected him from a bully, and he felt something. Not a lot, but enough. Then came Chen Chao, declaring him a brother for life. That's not normal. Only someone that powerful could bypass the protection system and injure someone for real. At the Earth altar, things seem calm for a moment, and Wang Ling loses it. His most powerful. Froggy 2 quietly tells him alive, but just barely. Decides that he'll pour all, doesn't even hesitate. He restarts everything like some game checkpoint. Wang Ling has already activated the reset button on the world 4 times, hoping Sun Rong would still be alive. But no matter how many times he does it, Sun Rong is still gone, like an anime character who gets written out mid-season and never returns. His sword spirit shows up and explains that her life force is shattered, and once someone's truly— But Wang Ling isn't giving up yet, so he resets the world again, even though Froggy 2 tells him it's pointless. The result's always the same, no matter how many reruns he plays. Wang Ling breaks down crying, blaming himself for not finishing off the Shadow Boss lady earlier. If he had, maybe Sun Rong would still be here. Froggy 2 tries to comfort him, saying that since time is frozen now, they've got some time to figure things out. Wang Ling's curious how time that can boost everything in their bodies to the speed of light, basically freezing the world around them. That gives Wang Ling an idea. He asks if going even faster than light could take them back in time. Froggy 2 says yeah, but warns that it would drain a crazy amount of energy. Wang Ling doesn't care. He's ready to break every law of nature if it means saving Sun Rong, so they team up and try it. Next thing he knows, Wang Ling is back on his first day of high school. Seniors are already causing trouble, but this time it's Chen and Guo Hao who defend him, not Sun Rong. He even ends up giving them $10 for no reason and wonders what just happened. Sun Rong isn't even in class, and weirdly he can't remember her, but every time he should be seeing her he feels something intense, like a missing puzzle piece, or a skipped Naruto filler episode that might have mattered. He chases after a car he thinks looks familiar, but instead of her, he runs into Tang Jingzhou and Shou Bei. Everywhere he goes there's this weird emptiness, like a recurring dream with one main character gone. It's like the world is the same, just without her. Even though this new world finally gives Wang Ling that quiet, peaceful life he always wanted, something's off. The truth is, when Wang Ling's space-bending trick mixed with Froggy 2's time-freezing move, they ended up using so much spiritual power that it made a brand new world, one that doesn't include Sun Rong. And this world keeps absorbing bits of the old one, like Majin Buu absorbing other fighters, and if nothing changes, the old world will disappear forever. Time passes and it seems like no one from the old world can stop this, but then something wild happens. Sun Rong's soul drifts into the underworld, and one of the underworld's helpers brings her to the new boss, saying they've got a serious problem. The moment the new underworld king sees her, they realize she's from the Flower Fruit Water Curtain group, tied to the old underworld ruler. Just knowing that freaks them out enough to send her back before Wang Ling loses it and wipes out all 3 worlds like he's trying to unlock a secret final boss ending. Back in the new world, Wang Ling and his class go on a school trip to Heavenly Paradise. There's a fortune-telling cave and Zhuo Yi is their guide. Everyone's goofing around, but Wang Ling senses something weird, so he gives the fortune cave a try, and the thing breaks, like it just rage quit the storyline. As they go through the park, riding games and seeing all the sights, Wang Ling keeps getting these strange flashes of memory, like he's been here with someone before. Chen Chao and Guo Hao notice he's been acting off, but they try to lighten the mood and drag him onto the Ferris wheel. That's when he finally realizes everything. Sitting on the Ferris wheel he finally breaks down. All the memories of Sun Rong rush back in. Meanwhile, back in the old world, Sun Rong wakes up and sees Wang Ling's sword spirit. He tells her everything, including the danger of the world falling apart if Wang Ling doesn't snap out of his dream world. Sun Rong decides she's going to save everything. She reaches through the new world and messes with Wang Ling's spiritual energy just enough to wake him up. Wang Ling finally remembers her and realizes the world he's in isn't real. He escapes it and reunites with Sun Rong back in the original timeline. Now, back in the middle of the competition, just when Chen captures the altar of metal, the Shadow Boss lady reveals herself, pretending to be He Bufong. But this time Wang Ling doesn't hesitate. He smacks her into the ground before she can even touch Sun Rong. They win the whole thing and everything seems fine, except Sun Rong doesn't remember any of it. Wang Ling can go back in time to stop the Shadow Boss lady before any of this happens. But that would mean Sun Rong loses all her memories of everything they've been through. Sun Rong tells him that even if she forgets, her feelings will lead her heart will go on and on. Time resets again, and things go back to normal. Froggy 2 asks if he's okay with Sun Rong not remembering anything, especially after all they went through. Before he can answer, Wang Ling's dad shows up with a brand new amulet. Froggy 2 warns that once he puts it on, all his feelings will probably fade away. But Wang Ling sees how happy Sun Rong and everyone else are, and decides that peace is worth it. so he puts the amulet on, hoping that this time everything stays safe. Thanks for sticking around until the very end, you are a true legend. Blow up the comments with Froggy made her do it to confuse the weak ones with their TikTok attention spans. Like, subscribe, and click on one of our other exciting videos on screen. Stay awesome, stay AniGeek.